You've relinquished power. There are 3 things in life you should never share with anyone. Why? Because the moment you do, you lose a part of yourself, and that part can never be fully regained. First, never share your weaknesses. We all have them. Those areas of our lives where we feel vulnerable, uncertain, or incapable. They could be emotional triggers, self-doubt, or past failures that haunt us. Sharing these with others can leave you open to manipulation. People consciously or unconsciously will use those weaknesses against you. And while vulnerability is often seen as a strength, showing your weaknesses without discretion can turn you into a target. When you expose those parts of yourself too readily, you're not showing strength, you're showing a lack of self-protection. Weaknesses are for you to understand, overcome, and refine in solitude. Second, never share your future plans or dreams with those who do not have your best interest at heart. At Stanford, I don't mean sharing with a trusted mentor, one who's truly aligned with your goals. I'm talking about sharing with people who don't support you or understand your vision. When you speak about your ambitions too freely, you give away your momentum, and the energy that's supposed to fuel your success can get diluted by others' skepticism, jealousy, or apathy. There is a neurological truth here. When we vocalize a goal, our brain partially experiences the satisfaction of achieving it. This is why premature sharing can rob you of the drive needed to follow through. Keep your goals close, protect your vision, and only share them when the moment is right. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, never share your inner peace. Peace is the most sacred of your resources. We live in a world of constant noise, distraction, and external pressure. The moment you share your peace with someone who doesn't understand it, someone who seeks to disrupt or disturb it, you risk losing that stillness. People may seek to pull you into their chaos, or worse, they may inadvertently trigger your anxieties and fears. Peace is not something that should be easily handed over. It's something you must protect fiercely. Guard your inner, calm like a fortress, because once it's disrupted, the ripple effect on your mind, body, and life can be devastating. The truth is, in this world of relentless information exchange, we often forget that some things are not meant to be shared. We think that vulnerability equals connection, but the reality is true power comes from knowing what to keep to yourself. It comes from setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself as well. The most successful, resilient people know that the secrets of their personal strength are the ones they guard most closely. When you protect your weaknesses, your dreams, and your peace, you are protecting the very foundation of your success and well-being. So ask yourself this: what are the things that you need to protect? And what are the areas in your life where sharing could do more harm than good? Learn to distinguish between what's meant for the world and what's meant for you. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in front of someone you trust, perhaps a close friend or colleague, and you begin to open about your weaknesses. You share the things that make you feel vulnerable, the insecurities you've never fully confronted, the failures that still sting. In that moment, it feels almost like a release, a sense of relief that someone knows your struggles. But here's the true thing: that release, as cathartic as it may feel, comes with a risk. Weaknesses, real weaknesses, not just struggles, but core aspects of who you are, should not be shared freely, because once you do, you expose yourself to potential harm. The moment you reveal your vulnerabilities to someone who may not understand, or worse, someone who does not have your best interest at heart, you give them the power to manipulate, judge, or use that information against you. Your weaknesses are a part of your internal world, and exposing them without caution can weaken your mental and emotional defenses. When you share too much of your inner struggles with others, you invite them into a space where they have the ability to influence your self-esteem, your sense of safety, and your future actions. People may not intentionally harm you, but even the most well-meaning individuals can inadvertently trigger fears, doubts, or insecurities that you've worked hard to overcome. Weaknesses are personal. They're not meant to be externalized without thought. The key to resilience and growth is confronting your weaknesses in private, understanding them deeply, and ultimately working to transform them into strengths. Sharing them prematurely or indiscriminately doesn't allow you the time or space to work through them in a healthy way. It takes away your agency, leaving you open to external judgment and reducing your ability to take full ownership of your growth. So, while being open and vulnerable has its place, and when it comes to weaknesses, especially those that could undermine your emotional resilience or your confidence, it's crucial to protect them. Work on them in the quiet space of your own mind. Understand them, learn from them, and transform them. In doing so, you maintain control over your narrative, your healing, and your personal power. There's a powerful truth we often overlook: vulnerability, while being seen as a potential source of connection, can, when exposed prematurely, open us up to manipulation. We live in a world that tells us to be real, to show our emotions, to let others in, but not all vulnerability is created equal. When you share your deepest insecurities or moments of self-doubt with the wrong person, you're not just showing your humanity. You're offering them the keys to your emotional life. And that, my friends, can be dangerous. When you expose your weaknesses too openly, you give others a chance to shape your perception of yourself. It might not even be intentional. People don't always realize the impact their words or actions can have on you. But the brain is highly sensitive to social feedback, and when you open up about something personal, you're inviting the other person's judgment or even worse, their indifference. Over time, this external judgment can distort your self-image, make you second-guess your capabilities, or trigger self-doubt where there was none before. This is why it's crucial to understand that vulnerability requires discretion. Vulnerability, when shared with the wrong people or at the wrong time, can actually weaken you. It can erode your confidence, leaving you in a place where you're unsure that you're truly accepted for who you are or for the version of you others think they see. The key here is not to avoid vulnerability, but to understand when and with whom to share it. Vulnerability should be reserved for those who have earned your trust, those who are capable of holding space for you without judgment, and most importantly, those who will empower you rather than diminish you. If you make the mistake of sharing your vulnerabilities with the wrong person, you risk not only losing your sense of emotional security, but also losing your capacity to trust others in the future. Vulnerability isn't weakness, but indiscriminate exposure of it without thoughtful consideration can lead to emotional burnout and leave you feeling misunderstood, isolated, and even weaker than before. So, while it's vital to connect, share, and be open, it's just as vital to be selective about who you share your vulnerabilities with and when you do so. When you think about your dreams, those big goals that live in the core of your mind, it's easy to feel a sense of excitement, a drive to share them with others. After all, when we speak our aspirations aloud, it can feel like we're holding ourselves accountable, like we're making our dreams more real. But here's the reality: in sharing your future plans, especially with people who don't fully understand or support you, can actually do more harm than good. It's one of the most subtle ways we sabotage our own success. You see, there's a neurological mechanism at play here. When you talk about your goals, your brain can register that vocalizing them gives you a sense of partial satisfaction. It gives you a feeling of achievement, even if you haven't done anything to move the needle forward yet. This is a paradox by talking about your dreams at Stanford. You might trick your brain into thinking you've already made progress, which reduces your drive to actually take action. It's like telling someone about a mountain you plan to climb without ever starting the climb. Your brain, in a way, celebrates the idea without the effort, and at Stanford. And that can rob you of the true momentum needed to turn those dreams into reality. But there's another layer to this. The people you share your dreams with can unintentionally impose limits on your potential. Not everyone around you has the same vision, and not everyone can see the world the way you do. When you express your aspirations to those who don't understand or support them, you open the door for skepticism, doubt, or even negativity. Sometimes people will question your abilities, point out obstacles you hadn't considered, or impose their own limiting beliefs onto your vision. This isn't always malicious. It's just that they may not see the potential you do. And when you absorb their doubts, you can start questioning your own path, your own drive, and even your own worth. The best way to protect your dreams is to keep them close. Speak about them with people who have proven themselves to be allies in your growth, mentors who understand the path you're walking, or individuals who genuinely want to see you succeed. These are the people who will help you build your vision, not chip away at it with doubts and distractions. You don't need to share your plans with everyone around you, especially not when they can't offer the support or insight you need. At Stanford, dreams are fragile things, and they need the right environment to thrive. Keep them protected until the time is right, and until you've built the momentum necessary to turn those dreams into tangible, unshakable realities. when you vocalize your goals too early, before you've made substantial progress. You risk a phenomenon that many overlook, but is deeply rooted in neuroscience. Your brain starts to experience the satisfaction of success prematurely. It's almost like you're tricking your mind into believing the work has been done, even though it hasn't. You get a taste of the reward without earning it. This can be incredibly dangerous because it reduces the internal drive to actually take action and complete the task. When we talk about our dreams and goals, we activate the same reward centers in the brain that are triggered by achieving them. This is why people feel good when they talk about their ambitions. Because at a basic level, the brain experiences a small hit of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that signals pleasure and motivation. The more we talk about our goals, the more our brain interprets this as progress, even if we haven't moved an inch closer to realizing them. The result is a reduction in motivation to do the hard work required to actually achieve them. In essence, by vocalizing your goals too soon, you're prematurely giving your brain a sense of accomplishment, which can dull the drive to follow through. At Stanford, this is why it's crucial to wait until you've made significant headway before you share your progress with others. When you've put in the work, when you've made tangible strides toward your goal, your brain is far less likely to get distracted by the early rewards of simply talking about it. The satisfaction of achieving something is far greater when it is a result of your own sustained effort and focus. Moreover, by holding off on vocalizing your goals, you maintain an internal pressure, a need to achieve that keeps you moving forward and pushing toward the finish line. Sharing your ambitions too early doesn't just weaken your drive. It also opens the door to unnecessary feedback, criticism, or even jealousy. People may not always respond in the way you hope. While you may be met with enthusiasm from some, others may express doubts, point out potential obstacles, or unconsciously try to dissuade you from following through. Their reactions, even if they mean well, can create noise in your mind, causing you to second guess your ability to succeed. So, keep your goals close to your chest until you've put in the work and made significant progress. Let the reward of achieving something be the true fuel for your motivation, not the fleeting satisfaction of simply sharing your plans with others. This way, you preserve the momentum that is crucial for success and ensure when you do share your victory, it's not just a verbal affirmation. It's a reality grounded in tangible results. The most successful people in life know one simple, true thing. Not everyone deserves to hear about your goals, especially in the early stages. While it may feel empowering to share your ambitions with others, there's a critical point to remember. Your goals are yours to protect. And once you reveal them, you relinquish control over how they are received, interpreted, or even potentially sabotaged. When you share your goals with people who don't have the same vision or who aren't aligned with your mission, you expose yourself to forces that can undermine your progress. People may unintentionally project their doubts, fears, or biases onto your aspirations. They might tell you all the reasons what you're trying to achieve is difficult, why it's not practical, or why it's unlikely to succeed. Even if their intentions are not malicious, their words can plant seeds of doubt in your mind, and that's where the real danger lies. This external noise can erode your confidence, cause you to question your direction and ultimately slow your momentum. Your brain is highly susceptible to social feedback. In the early stages of pursuing a goal, you haven't yet built up the resilience to withstand the negativity or skepticism of others. At this point, your self-belief is still being developed, and hearing others express doubts can weaken your resolve. It's essential to shield yourself from this kind of external influence until you've gained enough traction and confidence in your path. When you've put in the hard work, made real progress, and faced your own internal challenges, you'll be in a much stronger position to handle outside opinions, whether they are positive or negative. But until then, protect your dream and only share it with those who can truly support and reinforce your vision. Furthermore, sharing your goals too early can trigger a psychological phenomenon known as social proof. This is where we look to others for validation, and when that validation doesn't come in the form we expect, it can cause a crisis of confidence. Instead of building momentum from within, you start seeking approval from the outside world. The more you share with others, and the more you risk the distraction of trying to get validation from people who might not understand your journey or see the same potential in it that you do. By keeping your goals close, You maintain a clear focus on why you are pursuing them in the first place. You preserve your internal motivation and avoid unnecessary external influences that can derail your progress. At Stanford, as you begin to make progress, that's when you can selectively share your accomplishments, seeking feedback from people who have earned your trust and who truly understand the depth of what you're trying to achieve. Until then, let your goals be a private sanctuary, a place where you can cultivate your passion, build your strength, and prepare yourself to share your success on your terms. Inner peace is one of the most precious and fragile aspects of your well-being. It's the foundation upon which your emotional stability and resilience are built. We live in a world filled with noise, external pressures, conflicting opinions, constant distractions. And these things can quickly erode the calm that allows us to think clearly, make decisions confidently, and feel centered. But once you share your peace with the wrong people, once you invite the wrong energy into that space, you run the risk of losing that stillness altogether. It's not always intentional, but people can disrupt your peace. Sometimes it happens when they don't understand or respect the boundaries of your emotional world. They might bring their chaos, their anxieties, their unresolved issues, and they expect you to absorb that energy. The more you share your peace with others who don't have the capacity to hold it with the same respect, the more likely it is that their emotional turmoil will seep into yours. Your brain is designed to pick up on emotional cues from those around you. When someone enters your space with a high level of stress, negativity, or drama, your own stress response system can become activated. In the short term, this can cause irritation, frustration, or even anxiety. In the long term, if you're constantly exposed to emotional turmoil, it can wear you down, leaving you feeling disconnected, drained, and less able to maintain the clarity and calmness that you need to function at your best. And what's critical to understand is that your inner peace isn't just about managing your own emotions. It's about protecting that stillness from external forces that try to disturb it. You understand? Sharing your peace with someone who is emotionally chaotic or who doesn't respect your need for tranquility can lead to emotional fragmentation. You can begin to doubt your ability to stay calm in the face of external stressors because you've allowed someone else's turbulence to take root in your mind. And peace is earned and cultivated in solitude through self-awareness, meditation, or simply taking the time to quiet your mind. Once you've established that inner calm, you need to guard it. At Stanford, just as you wouldn't expose your body to an illness without precaution, you shouldn't expose your peace to negative energy without boundaries. There is a subtle but important distinction here. It's not about avoiding connection or dismissing others' struggles, but it's about being mindful of when and how you allow others to influence your emotional state. Not everyone is capable of holding space for you in the way you need them to, and not everyone deserves access to the calm that you've worked so hard to create. By protecting your inner peace, you give yourself the mental clarity and emotional resilience needed to thrive in a world that is anything but peaceful. You stay grounded in your own sense of self, unaffected by the chaos that surrounds you. And when you do choose to share your peace, you're doing so from a place of strength, a knowing that it will not be easily shaken by the turbulence of others. We often think of sharing our peace as a way to connect with others, but the truth is, peace is one of the most vulnerable aspects of ourselves. It's something that, once disrupted, can have a profound impact on our mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. People intentionally or unintentionally can disturb the calm we've worked so hard to cultivate. And when that happens, it's not just a fleeting disruption. It can send shockwaves through your entire system, throwing you off course and leaving you scrambling to regain your composure. The reality is people don't always understand how to navigate your inner world. They might bring their own emotional baggage into the conversation, dump their stress on you, or drag you into their crisis. What starts as a casual exchange of thoughts or a brief moment of connection can quickly escalate into something more intrusive. An invasion of your emotional space. Your brain, designed to respond to social stimuli, picks up on the energy others carry. If you're around someone who is high anxious, angry, or upset, your own brain may begin to mirror their emotional state, leading you to feel anxious or unsettled, even if you weren't feeling that way before. It's a neurological phenomenon known as emotional contagion. Our brains are wired to absorb the emotional states of those around us, sometimes without us even realizing it. What's even more dangerous is that over time, exposure to people who constantly disrupt your peace can create an environment where you no longer feel safe, calm, or centered. It can build a level of chronic stress that doesn't dissipate after the conversation ends. Instead, it lingers, affecting your mood, your focus, and even your health. And the worst part, you may not even realize how much damage is being done until you're so deeply unsettled that it becomes difficult to find your way back to the peace you once had. People often bring their problems, complaints, and anxieties into our space, expecting us to absorb them or help them fix things. But the truth is, you can't help others maintain their peace if you've lost yours. When you allow others to disturb your calm, you lose the mental clarity and emotional resilience that are essential for navigating the challenges of life. Without your inner peace, you become more reactive, less capable of responding to stressors in a balanced way, and ultimately more vulnerable to the pressures around you. At Stanford, this is why it's so important to learn to protect your peace like a precious resource. You can't control other people's behavior, but you can control how much of their energy you allow to enter your space. The more you practice setting boundaries with those who seek to disrupt your peace, the more you'll be able to maintain a sense of calm, knowing there's a deeply ingrained belief in our culture that everything should be shared. Our struggles, our successes, our fears, our dreams. But not everything is meant to be shared. Some aspects of who we are, some parts of our journey should remain personal. They are not for public consumption because they are integral to the very core of our being. These are the parts of ourselves that, if exposed too early or too freely, risk being misinterpreted, judged, or even exploited. This is why it's so important to understand that not everything should be shared with others, no matter how close they are to you. The more you reveal about your inner world, the more you risk creating an external narrative about yourself that doesn't align with who you truly are. Stanford, once you share something that's meant to remain private, you lose control over how others perceive it, and they may unknowingly shape that narrative in ways you can't predict. It becomes not just about your truth, but also about how others interpret or project their beliefs onto you. And that can distort your sense of self in ways that can be difficult to untangle. The truth is, there are aspects of your personality, your fears, your challenges, and even your past that are not just private. They're sacred. These are the parts of you that are still in process, still evolving. When you share these raw, unfinished pieces of yourself too soon, you risk giving others the power to define you in a way that may not resonate with your deepest truth. People are complex, and so is their perception of you. Once you let someone in too far, their understanding of you may become clouded by their own projections, fears, or biases. They may see you through the lens of their own experiences, and in doing so, at Stanford, miss the nuances of who you truly are. In the early stages of your personal growth, when you're still figuring things out, it's critical to hold on to your inner process. This allows you to reflect, learn, and develop without the interference of outside opinions or judgments. If you're constantly sharing your internal struggles or challenges, you risk losing the opportunity to fully process them on your own terms. In time, you'll know when and how to share your story, but the most powerful stories are often the ones that are lived first and spoken later when you've had the chance to make sense of them for yourself. So be discerning in what you reveal and to whom. Not everything about you is meant to be shared because some things are too precious, too intimate to be diluted or misunderstood by others. They are meant for you to process, to grow, and to make sense of in your own time. As you protect those parts of yourself, you give them the space they need to evolve into something stronger and more resilient. Something that can be shared when the moment is right, when you are truly ready. Until then, allow your inner world to be a space of refuge where you can explore and refine your true self without the interference of others' opinions or expectations. One of the most overlooked aspects of personal growth and success is the ability to set boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself as well. It's a skill that many people struggle to develop because it often feels counterintuitive. After all, we're taught to be open, to share, to give freely. But what happens when you give too much of yourself, when you don't have enough clear lines around your time, your energy, your emotional space? You end up burned out, distracted, and vulnerable to being pulled in too many different directions. Setting boundaries is about more than just saying no to others. It's about creating a structured space where you can protect your energy, your focus, and your mental well-being. When you fail to set clear boundaries, you allow external pressures and influences to dictate how you spend your time and where you direct your efforts. People's demands, opinions, and expectations can easily overwhelm you, making it difficult to prioritize your own needs, goals, and well-being. And when you're constantly reacting to the needs of others, you never fully engage with your own purpose or cultivate the deep sense of clarity and focus that you need to succeed. But setting boundaries doesn't just protect you from others. It protects you from yourself as well. We all have moments where we get distracted or lose focus, where we prioritize the wrong things or engage in behaviors that don't serve our long-term growth. The power of boundaries lies in their ability to act as a safeguard, helping you stay on track when you start to stray. This means setting limits on how much energy you devote to things that don't move the needle forward in your life. It's about recognizing when you're overcommitting yourself, when you're spreading yourself too thin, or when you're engaging in activities that drain you rather than nourish you. Without boundaries, it becomes almost impossible to stay true to your goals. You may begin to feel overwhelmed, lost, or disconnected from your own purpose, not because you lack the ability to succeed, but because you haven't protected the space necessary for success to flourish. And this isn't just about professional goals. It applies to your personal life, your relationships, and your emotional health. If you don't set boundaries around your time and your mental space, you allow other people's needs and demands to take priority over your own. The most successful people are the ones who master the art of boundary setting. They don't allow themselves to be constantly pulled in every direction. They understand that in order to reach their full potential, they must first create a clear, focused path for themselves, and they protect that path fiercely. This means being selective about the energy you allow into your life, being intentional with how you spend your time, and making sure that the goals and values you set for yourself are always at the forefront of your decisions. Boundaries don't just serve as protection. They are a tool for deepening your focus, strengthening your resolve, and cert roles at Stanford, and ensuring that you're always moving in the direction of your highest potential. The ability to discern what not to share with others is a fundamental part of preserving your energy and maintaining your emotional resilience. It's crucial to recognize that there are things in your life that, when shared too freely, can disrupt your focus, cloud your judgment, and even undermine your progress. Some aspects of your internal world, your struggles, your doubts, your most private challenges, are better kept for your own reflection or shared only with people who have earned the right to bear witness to them. When you open up about personal challenges or deep fears, especially in situations where the listener isn't equipped to offer constructive feedback or emotional support, you risk allowing those vulnerabilities to define you. Vulnerability, while an essential part of being human, can also leave you exposed to the judgments and reactions of others. When shared prematurely or with the wrong person, these raw emotions and experiences can become a source of unnecessary external stress. You may receive advice or responses that aren't helpful, or worse, responses that validate your fear and insecurity rather than empowering you to overcome them.